Sir John Templeton once said, "Bull markets are born on pessimism, grow on skepticism, mature on optimism, and die on euphoria." And right now, people are financing $80,000 trucks they can't afford, buying fake lifestyles on Klarna, and taking investment advice from a guy named Crypto King 69420. So maybe the real question isn't, why are rich people getting richer? Maybe the question is, WTF is keeping you poor? Here's the weird part. Most people think being poor is about income. It's not. America had one of the biggest wealth booms in history over the last 15 years. The S&P 500 went up over 700% since 2009. Bitcoin went from basically zero to over $60,000. Home prices in some cities doubled. Yet somehow, 62% of Americans are still living paycheck to paycheck. That's not normal. That's like standing in the middle of a gold rush and somehow leaving with debt. So what happened? Well, to understand why people stay broke today, you have to go back to the 1970s. Because this movie, we've seen it before. And the ending wasn't pretty.
In the 1970s, America got addicted to easy money. Sound familiar? The government spent aggressively, the central bank flooded the system with liquidity, inflation exploded, and regular people got financially nuked. By 1980, inflation hit 14%. Mortgage rates went above 18%. Imagine financing a Honda Civic at the same interest rate as a mob loan. But here's what's fascinating. The rich didn't suffer the same way because wealthy people owned assets, stocks, real estate, businesses, gold. Everyone else owned liabilities, cars, credit card debt, consumer junk. And that's the first brutal truth nobody tells you. Poor people buy things. Rich people buy cash flow. Now, fast forward to today. The average American has over $6,000 in credit card debt. Total U.S. consumer debt just crossed $17 trillion. And buy now, pay later apps are exploding. People are literally financing burritos now. I wish I was joking. But here's where it gets dangerous. Because the system today is doing something psychologically genius. It's making people feel rich while quietly keeping them poor. And the next numbers prove it. Let's talk about the real villain. Lifestyle inflation. Not inflation, lifestyle inflation. Because humans are terrible at understanding status. The second people make more money, they upgrade the apartment, upgrade the car, upgrade the vacations, but they never upgrade ownership. In 1971, the average CEO made about 20x the average worker. Today, it's over 350x. And meanwhile, the top 10% of Americans now own roughly 89% of all stocks. The bottom 50% own basically nothing. That's why asset inflation matters more than grocery inflation. Because when the Federal Reserve prints money, that liquidity flows into assets first. Stocks rise, homes rise, art rises, crypto rises. Meanwhile, your salary moves like a depressed turtle. And this is where social media made everything worse. Because now everyone compares themselves to people renting fake wealth online. Private jets, Rolexes, Dubai penthouses. Half these influencers are one missed sponsorship away from bankruptcy. But psychologically, it pressures normal people into spending money they don't have to impress people they don't even like. It's basically high school with better lighting. And here's the craziest stat of all. Nearly 40% of Americans couldn't cover a $400 emergency without borrowing money. Not because everyone is lazy, but because modern capitalism is designed to turn consumers into permanent monthly subscribers. Netflix, car payments, iPhones.
Student loans, gym memberships you forgot existed in 2022. Everybody's getting drained by 1,000 tiny leaks. And now comes the uncomfortable part, because some of this is not the system's fault.
Look, the economy is weird right now. Stocks are near all-time highs. AI companies are exploding. Bitcoin keeps resurrecting itself like a movie villain. And yet, millions of people feel financially stuck. Why? Because we're living through an ownership economy, not an income economy. That's the shift nobody fully understands yet. Take the Magnificent Seven tech stocks: Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, Meta, Google, Tesla. At one point, these companies made up over 30% of the S&P 500. A tiny group of assets drove most of the wealth creation. If you owned them, you probably did great. If you didn't, the economy felt fake. And historically, that concentration usually ends badly. The Nifty 50 in the 1970s, the dot-com bubble in 2000, housing in 2008. Every era creates a story people think can't fail until reality taps the shoulder hard. But this is where most financial videos become useless, because they either scream, "Buy everything," or "Society is collapsing." Reality is usually somewhere in the middle. The truth is, you do not need to become a billionaire to escape financial stress, but you probably do need to stop playing the game exactly like everyone else. Because average behavior today is financially suicidal. People consume first, invest later, and wonder why freedom never arrives. So, what's actually keeping people poor? It's not just low income, it's distraction, ego, debt, comparison, and a system that rewards ownership more than labor. But history also teaches something hopeful. Every generation gets opportunities. The people who win are usually the ones who stay rational while everyone else gets emotional. That's it. No magic formula, no Lamborghini course, just patience, ownership, risk management, and independent thinking. Because at the end of the day, wealth is not about looking rich. It's about controlling your time. And the people who understand that early usually disappear from the rat race entirely. Fade out. You must learn to be financially cold while the world stays emotionally hot.